Welcome back to another episode of Cleats Conversations. I'm Albert with Studs Up Media. Today's episode is a special one. We're diving into the story of Bryan Zuluaga and how Prodigy Soccer Atlanta came to life. It's a story about passion, hard work, and believing in something bigger than yourself. From early mornings on the field to late nights training, Bryan built more than a program. He built a family, a culture, a movement right here in the A. So sit back and lock in and let's get into it. Thanks for being here, Coach Bryan. How are you?
Good, man. Glad to be here.
Right on,
Happy to do this interview with you.
Awesome. Great to have you. So let's start things off by just asking, who is Coach Bryan?
So, yeah, my story, I guess really would start in Colombia. I was born in Colombia, in Manizales, Colombia. That's where I grew up for the first 7 years of my life. Ever since I could remember, I loved soccer. So I think the first thing that I ever remember was seeing a soccer ball. And ever since then, I've had a passion for the sport. And I even started playing. I mean, right when I was little, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, I was playing in the streets of Colombia. My city, we have hills. So it was a lot of the times we were playing uphill versus downhill. And, you know, that was just life back then. Then I moved to Orlando when I was 7 years old with my parents. And that's when, you know, just started playing normal club soccer in Orlando. And that's where I grew up, did all my club soccer there, played for a small club called Orange County Strikers in Orange County, Florida, went to Dr. Phillips High School in Orlando. And then I also played for Florida Rush, which during that time we were a very good club. Our first team was competing in state cups, winning that regularly. And I was on the second team. Also, we were making it to Final Fours and we were at a very, very high level. And then I went to college down in Miami, Johnson and Wales University, where I played 4 years, tore my ACL sophomore year, learned a lot from that, where I was able to recover and learn how you come back from an injury, the therapy that goes into it. So it was a learning experience. Now you look back at it and you see everything that happens to you throughout your career is another experience to take from. So I did that. Small NAIA school, but the level was really high because they get a lot of players that are not going pro, but are still very good. So they're not going pro at, you know, maybe in England or in Norway or in Finland or in Macedonia. So they're getting full scholarships to come play at NAIA schools. And that was the competition we were going. Then I was lucky enough to go to Portugal, do some tryouts, trained there for about 4 to 5 months, just doing trials and trying to get seen by clubs. That was also a tough process where, you know, it takes a lot of learning experience, a lot of backbone. You know, you're going into a country, you don't speak the language. The kids there are not really trying to pass you the ball and they're not trying to let you take their spot. So you really got to go and earn it. And then the politics behind it as well, which, you know, we were good players. The clubs wanted us, but third division teams, second division teams, they don't have the money to really sponsor you to stay there and pay for all your stuff. So it was kind of finding a deal where we could stay there and play, but they didn't have to resolve like our whole legal situation and our whole stay. And then I ended up playing in a small town called Ericerense, where I played fourth division and third division. And that one was my best experience. Small little town, 40 minutes from Lisbon. We lived literally at the stadium, lived right next to the stadium.
Wow. And
we would just train every day. You know, whether with the team 3 times a week and then on our own every day, because we were there to get better. You know, we had to eat. We didn't have that much money, so we had to eat, you know, rice and beans every day, or pasta with tuna was like one of our go-to meals. And again, it's just part of the sacrifices that you make trying to reach your dreams. So again, another learning experience. And I actually played with Nunes.
Wow.
Which he is now center mid for Manchester City, starting in the Portuguese national team at times, worth 60 million. But back then he was just a 17-year-old and I was 23. Which we'll get into that, but it's another reason that I like taking kids abroad, getting them exposed early on in their careers, and kind of giving back something that I never had the chance to do.
Like run us down, like when you got the call or you got that opportunity where a coach came up to you and said, hey, would you like to play in Portugal or play overseas? Like, what did that feel like? How does that make you feel as a player, working so hard and coming up from Colombia?
Yeah, no, 100%. I said the first call I got was in college. I was actually already, back in the day was trimester. So I was one trimester into my community college because I didn't really, my parents didn't know the system. We didn't know how to reach out to colleges and that you're supposed to be going to camps and clinics and putting your name out there. Luckily I had friends that were being recruited by a school. They put me in touch with the college coach. I reached out to him. We were able to get a trial done. I went down to Miami, tried out for the team, did really well. And then we got offered a partial scholarship, not a full scholarship, but it was still a partial scholarship. And, I just ran with that and followed my passion. If you're going to be doing something that you love and you're going to be doing that every day, that's part of being happy, and chasing your dream and chasing your goals. For Portugal, it was a bit different. That was just through an aunt in Colombia. She told me that this guy was taking people abroad to come try out. I was actually on vacation in Colombia in December. Wow. And instead of being with my family on vacation and doing Christmas with them, I was in a small little farmhouse. We call them fincas, concentrating with 15, 20 other players that were looking to do the same, of going abroad and having opportunities. But we were training 2-a-days in a small little crappy town in Colombia. And we, the training facilities were like a school where it was like half grass, half dirt. And I was just getting up, training every day. Luckily, I spoke the language. I still speak very well Spanish, but it was hard, man. These guys all have different backgrounds. They're used to a different type of lifestyle. They pick on you a little bit and you got to be tough skinned. You got to be able to take it and just prove your skills everywhere you go. And that's something that I always did, was push myself to, okay, who's the best? All right, I have to be able to compete with the best if I want to be at that level. If you're saying that you want to be the best, but you're not trying to train with the best, you're not trying to compete with the best, you're just not going to be at the level. So in order to be the best, you have to compete against the best. And that's the level that I always try to push myself to. So then we ended up traveling with the agent. It was about 8 of us. Unfortunately, the agent wasn't really good. So he tried to put us in a couple places. He thought things were going to go very smoothly and they were going to take us just because we were good players from Colombia. And, it was a good time for us. Falcao had came up through Portugal. James had been in Porto and was doing well. So Colombians had a good name out there, but it's just the reality comes down to politics and money. And if you are not going to give a club some money or a deal on the back end to play, you might not get those opportunities. You got to be really, really good. So how my Portugal career came about was actually, it was, we kind of had already said, this is not going to work out here. It had been 6 months already in Portugal. Everyone was going back to Colombia. They were giving up. We had one coach actually that reached out to a club called Ericeira and told them, hey, I know you guys need players. What do you guys need? I have 2 really good players that are willing to go. And we got a trial that day. They actually needed 2 center backs. I've always been a center mid or a more attacking minded player, but I was like, sure, I'll go as a center back. If that's what they need, I'll go and do it. And we tried out for them. They put us into play, and I did pretty well. Towards like the second half of the game, there's a play where they give me the ball, come out, dribbling, passing, doing give and goes all the way to midfield. And then I give the ball up to one of my teammates and I come back and the coach says, hey, listen, we're going to take you guys. You guys are great. We want you guys to join the team. He's like, but I don't think you're a center back. And he told me just like that. I'm like, I'm really not, but if you need me to play there, man, I'll play there. Like we're ready to do whatever it takes. And, that's pretty much.
I think that's a pretty big it's really important for players now to go, not to be with that mindset that, I'm a center mid or I'm a left back, right back. I think going up, playing at a high level, you come to realize that some of the coaches might see you as a different position. And in order for you to get any kind of gameplay or game time, you need to be a diverse player. And in that instance, like yours, like if you wouldn't have gone in a center back, you might have not gone at all. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
I'd rather be on the field, whatever position it is, than to be on the bench or not playing at all. I feel you. Right? So sometimes if that's your dream, you want to be on that field.
You got to be diverse.
I'll play there, coach, wherever you need me,
Tell us a little bit about how you ended up in Georgia. I mean, I know that you're from Florida or Colombia, then from there to Florida, Orlando area.
Yeah.
And now you're here in Georgia. How did that come about?
Yeah, man. So I met my wife, Natalie, earlier in my life. We met when we were 13. Her parents would go vacation in Orlando. They're mutual friends with my parents, and I would see her like almost every summer, for about a week or two, just while they were down there vacationing. And it went on like that for a couple years. Then when I went to college, around my sophomore year, I connected with her again. She would go down to visit me in Miami, and then, we got a bit closer, and that's when we were, we kind of formalized our being boyfriend and girlfriend. So long story short, we stayed connected throughout, and it was difficult at times because it was a long distance relationship, but she always lived here. She went to Georgia State. She got a full ride, very smart girl. And, I really loved her. So she actually waited for me to go to Portugal, pursue my dream, try to make it happen.
I've heard that story.
Yeah. So then, I was ready to come back, and she was already here in Atlanta. So I was like, okay, look, you already have a job. I don't want to, switch your whole life around. So I'll go and check out Atlanta and see what opportunities I can, get down there and see where I can play. And actually when I came back, I actually tried out for Silverbacks. That was kind of a mess. They had way too many players. I had like 40 players training. It was a bit of a messy situation. And then I played PDL with MOBA, Peachtree City. I played for Jinga, Atlanta, UPSL. Wow. That group, I played like the first 8 to 9 games with them. They actually went on to be national champs, undefeated.
Oh, wow.
In 2021. That was right after COVID. And then I found a job with Atlanta United, live event staff, just getting my foot in the door with sports management opportunities. Worked for the Atlanta Braves for a little while I was just trying to get my foot in the door.
Wow.
And then came the opportunity to work at Global Image Sports, which was my last job, before this, where it was just more of an office job where I would manage more of the admin stuff. We were, partnered with West Ham United, Wolverhampton, Stoke City. We had Atletico Madrid towards the back part of it. And that taught me a lot of more of the administration part and kind of the back end, where we were running the camps for West Ham United every year. Every year from the whole summer, we had the trainers out here from the West Ham United Academy, just doing summer camps all over the country. Orlando, Georgia, New York, West Coast, even Idaho,
right?
Cedar Stars Academy and
it's a lot.
Yeah. So all over the place, New Jersey.
So you come from Orlando, you move up here with your childhood sweetheart. You're still playing some football or soccer, as we call it here in the States. It's probably not in the position that you thought you would be. You start getting some jobs with some pretty reputable names, some of the bigger names here in the city, Atlanta United, the Braves and whatnot. So you get to a point in your life, and so where does Prodigy Soccer come into play? Where does that come into the mix?
Yeah. So Prodigy is started actually by one of my very good friends, in Miami. His name is Christopher Munoz. He actually comes up with the idea of Prodigy. He starts training kids on his own at a park. Just training kids, trying to give back to the community. He played with me in Ericeira in Portugal. So that's where we met. Then I came back. I started working with, the West Ham United and Global Image Sports. And he started doing coaching kids on the side, doing his own personal training. But I always kept up with him, and I was seeing what he was doing. I was like, man, I like what he's doing. I love the idea. I think he's doing a great job. So I connected with him. And that was actually right when COVID hit. So right when COVID hit, there's no more traveling for soccer camps. There's no more going abroad for soccer trips. There's no more bringing coaches out here. There's no more going over there. So my job was basically ended, and I was kind of looking for my next step. But I had always seen my friend doing that work, and I was like, man, I like that. Like, I feel like I could really do some impact with that.
Now, do you have experience as far as coaching and training at this point?
At this point, not really. I mean, I have experience organizing camps where we're bringing high level coaches, organizing events, but myself doing the coaching, not really. It's just taken more from my playing experience and what I lived through as a player, being in their shoes, knowing what I would have wanted at that stage in my career and giving it back to the kids. But I've also really had a good connection with the youth in general, of just like being able to relate to them, being able to get across to them, which is one of my biggest strengths, is the way I interact with the athlete. And then the coaching just kind of came more naturally to me, honestly. Once I started doing some more 1v1 sessions, private sessions, one-on-ones, is where I started Prodigy. That was towards the end of 2020, of just trying to see what I can do, getting my name out there, getting the brand exposed. And then in 2021 is where I really connected with my friend Christopher, and I told him, hey, let's really move Prodigy here to Atlanta, and let's have, we did a deal where I brought a franchise over from Miami to Atlanta.
Nice. So you get the opportunity with a friend of yours that you met playing overseas, which is, I think, an amazing story. What is your ultimate goal in creating it here in Georgia?
It's just more about giving back to players what I wish I would have had, and just mentorship, knowledge, and intensity in training, how you prepare yourself, what all goes into it, the small details that really make a difference that maybe you're not getting at your club. And really, at the club level, you don't have time to sit every player down and explain, hey, you're not opening your hips before receiving the ball. You're not staying on your toes. So when the ball gets to you, you're flat-footed. Just these small little details that make a huge difference in your game. You're not reacting quick enough. So we work a lot on reactions. And just what makes you a more complete player in general, which is the technique and physical aspect of the game. But then there's the knowledge aspect of the game. How you react to certain situations, how you let things affect you, and how that can throw things off on the pitch. And that's really the methodology behind Prodigy, is making complete players, not just physically, but mentally, and mentorship, giving back from pros that have been there. And we're happy to have a good staff where we can provide that for the kids now.